This was a little behind the scenes photo shoot of the underpaid producer. Somehow, when I wasn't home, he used my couch for the photo shoot, and I can't say that I'm super thrilled about it. Yeah,
it's a little bit cheesy, but whatever.
So what's going on?
So there we go.
So why don't these 18-year-olds?
Which war did he die in? Her husband died in every war.
Yeah, they're sexy specs. I've heard people refer to them in just horrible ways. Birth control glasses, things like that.
Yeah, are you able to give me a call back? Evening would be great.
Oh yeah!
Because I want the
yeah! Oh!
No, I'm sorry, you have to deal with that. So.
Oh my God!
We're actually doing a live podcast
Big
right now.
Daddy!
It's gonna be a mess. It's gonna. We're gonna need the cleanup crew. We're gonna need aftermath.
Look at infant after.
I'm allergic to this mask.
He has a severe latex allergy.
He does have a latex allergy.
Oh my God, that makes it even better.
So your face is gonna be all splotchy. Only half a man.
Yeah, it's like you're stuck in a limbo, half-assed all the time.
Even better, I'm like,
For the sake of our new. Oh yeah. That's right, everybody. It is time for Off the Cuff Podcast. You are here live on what is currently the mic.
Are we recording?
I am recording. Yeah.
Shit, hold on.
I texted you. I literally texted you. Get Audacity rolling.
Oh, stop it.
I did. Look at your text messages. It's there.
Why is it not working? Oh, here it is. We're good. We're good.
Crisis averted. Again, you're watching the Off the Cuff show, or you are listening to the Off the Cuff show. If you're watching it, you're on the Mike the Cop YouTube channel, and you are listening. It's just on whatever, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It is the show. It's the show. The show's the show. I'm Mike. This is Dave. And we are not joined by our producer. We have been left to our own devices yet again, because
Typical.
guys, we're committed. We're committed. Elijah, on the other hand, the producer, and I put that in massive air quotes, as big as these air quotes are leaving chemtrails. They're so big, like just quotes like producer. But here I am. Really? What do we need him for at this point? We're here. We're live.
You're absolutely right. And it's disappointing. I just don't even know, man. Like, I don't know if I should even claim him as mine anymore.
No,
You know what
I don't know.
mean?
Yeah, I
Like-
feel like I don't really want him either. So I don't know I don't know how we do this custody thing when
Yeah, like, neither of us want
neither
the
dad
DNA
wants him.
test now. You know?
Yes. Anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks if you've left. I haven't checked ratings and reviews lately, but if you've left one, hey, we appreciate it. Thank
Sure
you.
do.
Yeah, we're just two middle-aged men fumbling our way through the universe and giving our comments on things that are going on in the world week in and week out. We took last week off. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Yeah.
I hope you celebrated what little freedom you got left. We'll see. Tonight's show, we are going to talk about fact and fiction with this Sound of Freedom movie. Now, full disclosure, I don't think either one of us have gone to see this, correct? You haven't seen it, right? I have not seen it, but I was curious and stumbled into today a pretty in-depth article that we're just going to walk through about what was kind of like Hollywoodized about the whole thing and what was true based on direct questions and information from the agent that this film was based off of. So we're going to talk about that. And then that led me to something else with a hashtag on Twitter, to another video of a professor and talking about the P word. I don't even know what I can say on YouTube and keep this video live, because if you start talking about maps, minor attracted persons, if you start talking about that too much, I don't know if we get cut off or if it gets banned or what goes on. I don't know how it works.
And see, this is why I have a bone to pick with you. And I'm going to just deal with this right now.
But
all right.
Our option is we could just take our whole show to Twitter, just like Tucker did.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. But first of all, bone, pick.
Okay,
right?
pick the bone, whatever it is.
Okay, so you sent me this stuff in this article. We really didn't have a subject, right? Like we were just like, what do we do? Both of us are being a little bit on the lazy side today. But
not me. I was proactive, man. I said, this is what I wish we could do this. Let's do this.
Yeah, but you started out lazy, and then you come up with this really great topic. And that's my bone, because I'm like, what do you opened up these weird fucking rabbit holes for me, because you can't. So you bring up this topic that we're going to be discussing, and then you're like talking about the minor attracted people, of course, like that's supposed to be acceptable. And then I started going down that hole from that Twitter feed or whatever. I don't even do Twitter. So now I'm thinking, oh my God, this could be a 5-part fucking series. Like, you created this event, and I started going down and I'm like, oh my God, there's just so much information, so much to talk about. We're going to have to do a part 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's no doubt about it. So what started as a mundane Wednesday, you created this shitstorm. That's going to be like, we are going to bring it to DC. We are bringing it.
We're taking this all the way to the Supreme Court.
You know what we're talking about after a while. Like, we're taking this all the way to Atlantis, baby, all the way.
Yes. Well, what's this?
Man, I hate that you picked a good subject.
Sorry. I'll try less hard next time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, what's this big news? You said you've got big news.
I do. 3 big things.
Okay. First of all, I think everyone should know that Dave invited me to his house to go into his swim spa. You got a new swim spa.
I did.
And let the record reflect that only Dave's wife got in the swim spa with me, not Dave. Dave did not go in the swim spa. He talks about how awesome the swim spa is, but it wasn't awesome enough for Dave to get in.
Yeah, who's going to be the videographer, though?
I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure. Also, our OnlyFans link is. I'm just not sure what was going on, Dave. Like, why did I drive? You know how long it took me to get through customs just to get to your place?
I do.
And by the time I got there, then you wouldn't even get in the swim spa with me.
That's because I thought I was going to drown because I had drank so much. I was legitimately concerned for my safety. Plus, like I said, somebody had to record. So, but that wasn't even the big news. Well, this is one of the big news, is that my daughter is pregnant. That's why we invited all these people, and we invited the Edwards family. I don't know if we got that out, but but we wanted you guys to be there to help celebrate that. And it was the actually reveal party too, because I had no idea that you can do a freaking blood test and well before 12 weeks and know what gender the baby's going to be. Although technically you're still not allowed to pick it, right? I mean, you got to let the child do that when they're able to crawl. So
yes, as soon as that child is able to say anything.
Or blink.
Or even. Yes.
Yeah, blink once if you're a boy, blink twice if you're a girl, blink 3 times if we can't say anything yet. So so now
we're like dual grandpas, man, because
it's gonna be crazy.
Now both of our kids, now I've already had some grandkids, but I've got another one on the way, different, not the UPP. That's not why he didn't skip this show because he knocked up his wife. He skipped the show because he's literally downstairs I'm not kidding. He is downstairs on a couch watching TikToks with his wife, not doing anything.
What?
He's not. He told you he's moving, and he lied.
He is such a liar. So anyway, that's why I didn't invite him.
But anyway,
Okay,
we're
that's just
both raging gilfs.
it's going to be great. This is my first grandkid. I'm super excited. It's going to be a little girl. Super, super happy. That's the first news. The second and more important is that I got this new skull shaver thing, and the thing's freaking awesome. Joyce got
How
it for
is
me.
that?
Dude, holy crap, it's amazing.
I
Joyce
have
got it
been-
for, I think it was Father's Day, and she's a hero for it. Dude, look at this scalp, baby.
Does it? So like this is like 2 days here, and I have to like go. I use a razor, but Dollar
Never
Shave
have
Club,
to use a razor again, baby.
Dollar Shave Club totally changed their not only the razor, but they changed the handle, and it doesn't have like any weight to it, and it makes it really difficult to get a good
Oh.
shave. So instead of once a week, now I'm having to like go over it like 2 or 3 times in a week, and I'm just getting so freaking tired of it.
Dude.
But your head does look shiny enough. So
Thank you. And it's been 2
What-
days.
what is it? What is? I need to know what this is.
Hey Joyce, I think she might still be on.
Oh
here.
yeah, maybe she's in the chat.
Yeah, Joyce, if you're on, let me know what brand it is. It's got a pit bull on it. So it is fantastic. I absolutely love the thing. Like every day you could shave with it every day. Like just get up and it takes about 30 seconds or less. And
What
you
about
are
like
done.
right behind the ears and stuff? That's usually like the tough spot.
Usually not a problem. Usually not a problem at all. But I do notice a little bit, not behind the ears, but like, let's see if I can get there here. But like here, like right here. But I was able to I was actually able to get it last time. But I do have a razor too, like a manscaper thing that's cuts really short. So I might touch up with that because I have a beard also, so it doesn't hurt to do that. So Joyce brought it. Here we go. The pit bull. The pit bull silver. Hold on, real quick. I'll demonstrate. Oh yeah. Oh, this is good. Oh my god, yeah. Oh, you hear that? Hold on.
I know I'm intrigued.
Hold on. Oh god, do you feel that, guys?
I can feel it right through the screen, man.
Look at that. I'm pretty much done now. Look at that.
Man.
Thanks, Joyce.
Great job.
Hold on. Boom. I think you guys were all part of that. Look at that.
Yeah, crispy, man.
Dude, it's like using a razor. It's awesome.
I need to investigate.
So man, you can feel it, right? Yeah, for sure. You guys, you can feel the energy behind it.
Can you use it in the shower, or do you have to use it outside?
Either way, it doesn't matter.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What was I? Oh, somebody said on here an interesting thing, and this is not the first time I've heard this. Mike the Cop could be Tom Segura's doppelganger if he had a goatee. Tom Segura actually has a full beard right now. Well, at least last I seen him in most recent times. I actually had some guys at a gym one time think that I was Tom Segura happened to be in Downriver area, Detroit, at a Crunch Fitness. Like, yeah, that's where I'm gonna be if I'm Tom Segura. But
third thing, not least important, not most important. I don't know. Maybe it is. Warrior Way, the place that I train at, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a Kaiki affiliate, has its first female black belt.
Congratulations, Kelly.
Celebrate that to Kelly. I mean, she's a total baller too. So, man, it's been
she played basketball.
Time.
That's how she's most known. She's a baller.
Yeah, right. That's what it's mostly street ball, but
street ball, trick shots, globetrotter stuff.
Trick shots. Every time you go to the gym, she's like spinning a ball on her freaking finger. Why? Dude, I'm excited. I tell you, I am excited to get into this is. I know nothing about our topic. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really not, because you dumped this on us.
What?
You dumped this on us today, a little bit later than you should have. But I'm super excited to talk about it.
I had to swoop in and make up for your lack of articles. Usually you're able to send a few over on Wednesday morning.
I know, but
And then the UPP abandoned us for the whole afternoon. I didn't get a thumbnail till 5 something. So it was late to promote. Just all around, the UPP is 2 thumbs down this week.
JV asks, will it work on testes? And then of course Joyce responds, Dave, try it and get back next to the next podcast. So I don't know if it does, but I will get back to you and let you know.
I want to get those puppies snagged up in the middle of 4 blades.
Can you imagine? It gets all
chopped up like freaking 97% lean meat.
Looks like ground round after. Good Lord.
Need a little hard shell taco to go with that.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
All right.
Anywho. All right, let's dive in, guys. We'll start taking a look at this now. We should take a vote on who thinks I should turn a light on in here. What do you think, Dave? Do you think I need a light on in my room here?
I mean, I think you look good, but I think the problem is they're trying to compare me, and it's just not going to work for you. You know what I mean?
Oh, I look way better than you. That's not the issue.
Well,
not the question. It's just an issue of additional lighting.
I'm sorry. Do you have a skull shaver
in
Michael?
the room? Yeah, I do.
You do not.
Actually do. I'll have them before the end of the show. Amazon probably will drop it off by the time we're done.
Ding dong. It'd be hilarious. You're like, and send.
Ding and dong. Hands it to me. Shaves my head.
The guy comes in and shaves your head, the Amazon driver.
Oh, here's $5. That'd be something.
Oh. All right. I'm ready, man. All
right.
Anything new?
Hold on.
I'm
going to turn on the light. Hold on.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, people, man. This guy, oh my God. He's a mess. He thinks I'm a mess, and I am, but man, he is a perfect mess. Can't even look at us.
All right. Oh, yeah, a little bit better. A little bit better. Not much. Okay. What did Mike? I read that the silver is better than the gold, so order the pit silver. Man, you know everything I got is gold, embossed in gold, dipped in gold. Everything I touch turns to gold. So I gotta
get the silver. It'll be cheaper, and it'll turn to gold for you.
What's the difference? But I need to know. Pit Bull silver versus gold. Gosh, I love the internet. There's a diamond. There's a platinum. Oh, I'm missing out, dude.
The grotto.
200.
Dude, this thing is awesome. I'm telling you.
Wait, the diamond. No, wait a second. Isn't platinum more valuable than diamond?
I would not think that platinum is more valuable than diamond.
Oh, because the platinum is 209.
Damn.
The Pitbull Diamond Pro electric head and face shaver by Silver Shaver brushed chromium, $449.99.
Holy shit, dude. Thank you, Bosco. Yay. That $2 is going to go towards diapers. Thank you.
Pawpaw. Is that what you're going to be called?
To Bosco, I am. So anytime I refer to it, I'll be like, Bosco, Pawpaw feels good today. I gotta talk.
Pawpaw.
Pawpaw feel good today.
Is that what like Grandpa
name?
Kinks? They have to call you Pawpaw.
Are you Gramps? Grandpa, Pop? What are you?
None of those. I am just
Granny.
My name is Graham Possum.
Oh, good Lord.
But nobody calls me that except me.
Yeah.
No, it's just Paw. Just P-A, like Paw.
That's well, that reminds me of because isn't that what your kids call your dad sometimes?
Well, he is Old Paw. Like my
that's amazing.
There's Paw and Old Paw.
So Joyce.
So my dad is now Old Paw.
Oh my God! Imagine I have to make that adjustment. Joyce is going to be Halmony because Halmony is Korean for
Halmony.
Grandma. Halmony.
Halmony.
No, that would be saying like a Japanese.
You're gonna call me Halmony.
He's a Halmony. Like I'm a samurai guy.
Yo, play your violin. Halmony says, play your violin. Why am I Chinese now? I don't know.
I know. With like a little bit of like Russian for some reason.
Baba
my
Yaga. He plays the violin.
Oh my god.
All right. We should probably get to our topic. We're 20 minutes in, I guess. We could just... Who would watch the show if we never talked about anything? Except...
Especially if we said we were going to talk
like,
about it.
literally, like, the show...
I know who
we could
wouldn't.
just call the show Pitbull Shavers.
I know.
And then we just, like, talk about shaving our heads and the trials and tribulations of losing hair and shaving your head.
Good old Mike Dave has been trying to check in now and then to see if this podcast would take off. If this gets recorded, please note when the actual relevant talk starts, because so far it's been kids and beards. Oh my god! And look,
boy.
Sarah's like going in. Look at that. She's gonna help pay for your skull shaver, dude. Thanks, Sarah.
Dang.
He deserves it. He
That
needs
is...
it. Look at that.
That is 1% of the way to Diamond Pitbull, baby. Yes.
Yes. He looks.
Oh,
like
wait.
a,
No, Google's got to take 30% first. So it's not quite 1%.
Well, if you think about it,
0.7%.
it couldn't happen at a better time. The top of your head looks like you're a burn victim survivor.
Yeah.
Little patchy with a patchy hair.
Yeah, I have been getting a lot of sun too. Been in Florida.
Oh, but we digress. Aren't we supposed to be talking about some really cool stuff?
I guess. I feel like this is pretty cool. But I feel like it'd be kind of like really self-aggrandizing if we thought that people would listen to the show just for this.
Just to hear only our, like, what's it in our lives. Like, we're so important.
That's a good, we could shift the whole show and call it Life in the Middle Ages, but it's just us.
But it's just us.
Just us talking about middle-aged stuff. Swim spas, the adventure of the swim spa. I can describe what that was like. Yeah. Diet
pains.
Yeah. How horrible my body feels if I don't sleep on my ghost bed.
Oh my God. It takes us 6 days to recover after having 2 drinks. Well, dude, I want to talk about this. So this queer theory.
You want to start there?
I do want to start there.
Really?
Because,
okay.
Yeah, I think
that's not the title of the show.
No, it's not. And we've always had that problem. But I have to ask, like, what do you know what queer theory? I didn't know this was an actual, like a study. We'll say it's an actual study. And do people prescribe to this? Like, do they say this is the foundation of, of what, right? What do we actually talk about when we talk about that?
Okay, so I am by no means. I mean, I went to college in the 90s, so lots has changed since then about what people learn in college. So
why does that much change in college besides history?
Well, because
right?
Well, even history has changed.
No, I said besides history.
Oh,
I said, why would anything really change that much?
Because now
history?
Now you can get degrees in things that aren't real. And so,
like queer theory, queer studies, and stuff like that.
Is that a thing? Degree?
Oh, I'm sure.
In queer theory. I wonder.
Studies. I would say
queer studies. Whoa, you can do that?
Of course. Of course.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. So I saw a job posting for like this inclusive equity type thing for a city recently. I'm like, dude, I mean, I guess I'm just not meant for the workforce anymore. I don't know. Like, I can't keep up with the bullshit that I pay for in my fucking taxes, whether it's just my local taxation and anything. Like, I just can't keep up. Right. You're going to pay somebody $126,000 a year to tell me what's inclusive or equitable in our community. $126,000 a year. And if I have 126,000 people in my community, that's $1 in my taxes raised for every fucking person. Actually, it would even be more than that because you can have a population of 126,000.
Can someone tell me how?
There's only a couple of them that.
Can someone tell me how intolerant I am? I will. Yes, that'll be
Yeah.
$1, please. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I feel like it's Lucy for peanuts. Like, Charlie Brown's
Yeah.
got a problem. He's got to fucking go over there and give her fucking 5 cents to tell her how stupid he is or
Now
something.
he would lay on top of the doghouse, right? And she would walk up and give advice.
No,
and
he would go like she would like
she
give
was laying
advice. No, she would lay down on line. Is it Linus? No, who does the piano? So she would always go there and like lay on her head on the piano and talk to him, but he would, like, Charlie Brown would go and talk to Lucy, and like she would have her like stand up like a lemonade stand almost for like psychology, and she usually have to put like 5 cents in, and he would ask her about like the woes of life, and she would like do some psychiatric help on him. I feel like that's what we're doing now. Like it just makes no sense to me.
I got it. I found it. Like I couldn't remember, but you got it right there.
Yeah, psychiatric help, 5 cents. Doctor is in.
Doctor is in. So my understanding, again, things have changed without a proper definition. My basic understanding is that queer theory is essentially a catch-all term for this concept that heterosexuality and a gender binary is not standard, that this is it is entirely a social construct, right? And so queer theory is the underlying theory and premise and ideology that leads to the concept of, some people would argue, is at the heart of the LGBTQ plus movement, or alphabet soup or alphabet agenda, whatever. Other people would say, because to be fair, there are groups like Gays Against Groomers, right, who are saying,
Right.
listen, yeah, adults can choose their sexual orientation or engage in sexual activity or orientations that deviate from what is commonplace or normative. But a lot of people that are in that camp would disagree with queer theory, because they actually do believe that what is normative, they would consider themselves abnormal, even if they don't consider that a negative thing. They're just saying, like, we recognize that's not normal, right? Like, this, it's not the standard. I use normal in that sense, right? At least for this discussion.
Well, I mean,
So,
even statistically, it's not
correct.
The norm. It
Right.
would be.
And
Yeah.
so a lot of those groups that would themselves say, yes, I'm part of the LGBTQ community as a whole, really are saying, really, I just want to be LGB. I don't want the rest. And the rest is based on modern queer theory, which kind of comes with baggage. And they would say, like, a lot of the stuff is kind of like the movement is being hijacked, and what originally was this concept of equal rights has now become, and it's becoming clearer, that there are at least some people with the agenda to normalize minor involvement in this,
right, and
this activity.
I definitely want to get more into that, but I just kind of figured we should like lay some ground like structure on this, because queer theory, again, I didn't even really know much about this until you brought, like, all of a sudden you like send me this this Twitter feed, and I was like, what is
You're welcome.
this? Yeah. And so like I just looked up, so this Introduction to Queer Theory Philosophy Library Research Guidelines at indiana.edu. Queer theory is an interdisciplinary field that encourages one to look at the world through new avenues. It is a way of thinking that dismantles traditional assumptions about gender and sexual identities, challenges traditional academic approaches, and fights against social inequality. Now, I'm a little bit surprised about that, because a theory in and of itself. So this is why it's clear to me that queer theory is basically just it's a political agenda. Because, like you said, I think that people, the LGBTQ, there are some people that are just like, look, I'm gay. Like I don't have to have all these attachments. don't have to have all these colors in the flag. I just want to be myself. But it's pretty clear that the LGBTQ, there's like, they feel like this has to be like some a political or cultural banding together in order to push an agenda, when there are other, when I would say, I could be wrong, that most gay people are like, I'm gay. I didn't know it was that big of a deal. I didn't know we had to make a huge deal out of it. Now I get that there are certain states, are definitely other countries and continents that don't think that don't like give the same rights to gays as they do to straight people. I get that, and I get those fights for them. I understand why they would fight, but and even then, maybe that's part of the demise of that, if they want to try to identify themselves as just, hey, look, I'm gay, but then they have to see themselves banding to this LGBTQ push in order to get some of their, we'll say, rights. Well, not just, we'll say marriage rights, right? Like it's, that comedian says, hey, why can't gay people just be as miserable as all the rest of us married people, right? Like, and so, but then in the end, it's kind of like a Black Lives Matter thing or anything else that kind of pushes an agenda that not everybody that originally signed on for it is totally for. What do you think about that? Like, I mean, queer theory, like when I read that to you from indiana.edu, it's the last thing was, and fights against social inequality. I feel
Does
like,
it say inequality or does it say inequity?
Inequality.
Okay.
Inequality.
Yeah.
but
That's
it's
just simply not
interesting-
true. There's no,
Yeah,
there is,
well, that's kind of like,
that's a matter of debatable fact. It's just simply not true.
right?
It's like people fighting for trans rights. It's silly because there is no right that no one has taken their rights. No,
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does it mean? It's like fighting for equal rights. No one took them. No,
Yeah.
like it doesn't make any sense. It's like, and if you decided that you were going to be a freaking space, I guess space, there really are space monkeys. I was going to say space monkeys, but we've sent monkeys to space, so we have space monkeys. They're real things.
We do.
But if you want to be like a space giraffe, let's say, you band together with a few other people on the internet that all decide to identify as space giraffes, and then what? Now you have a civil rights campaign, like because you
Right.
need to make sure that you fight for equal rights for your long necks or something. Like, wow, I can't go on roller coasters. They need to really adjust all these things, because how am I supposed to strap in as a space giraffe?
Well,
It's just none of
space giraffe argument.
exactly. And if you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Exactly.
You're like, now you're getting it.
Now
But-
you're
well,
understanding.
But why under this guidelines.libraries.indiana.edu do they follow it up with the buzzword of the day, these buzzwords, and fights against social inequality? This to me reeks of, and again, I'm not professing to know much of anything about queer theory, but theories and agendas should be very different. But we know that's not true. I mean, look at the Big Bang theory. And I know I'm not trying to get off course, but I'm saying, like, we think of theories nowadays as truths, when the whole idea of what a theory is it's just a theory. It's not proven fact of anything. And yet somehow we've been able to put buzzwords in the very last part, and fights against social inequality. This is something that is, if you don't agree with or don't do or don't prescribe to, you're clearly not fighting against social inequality. Like everyone should be on board with this, because I put some buzzwords at the very end of this paragraph that shows how important this theory is. And then once again, it's like 1984. All you have to do is say it enough, that it's true enough times, and the world will believe it. And that is so true with theories that I wish people would understand more. So, like, even go back to the Big Bang Theory, which is a great show, but go back to the Big Bang Theory, and you should question everything about when somebody, and I'm not saying that as a creationist or anything else, it has nothing to do with it, but how many times in school have you ever been taught that the Big Bang Theory is just that? Like, There's no proof. We have not been able to prove it. This is something that we've just thought that it could possibly be. No, it's not being taught that way. That's
Correct.
not how it's being taught.
Correct.
So question everything. And this queer theory thing, I don't know, man. I got to read more into it, but I'm starting to have some reservations, Mike.
All right. Well, so for those of you that tuned in or who maybe you just hopped in, you're like, wait a second, I thought your title says Sound of Freedom, fact versus fiction, or whatever, fact and fiction. Let us get there, I guess, because actually I think these things are connected.
Yes, for sure.
Because it's the subject of the movie Sound of Freedom is human trafficking, specifically as it relates to children and sexuality. So I think that these are connected. And what I'm going to play for you guys is a professor. His name is Derek Jensen. And he's actually in the class, in a classroom type setting. And he's literally being heckled by students for bringing up the undeniable fact that the main proponents historically and currently of queer theory are proponents, not just people who got caught up in child attractive issues, but are proponents of it. And I have been saying, I should do the digging. I just don't have the time. I've been saying for years, probably since 2016, 2017, I've been saying for a long time and have said on this show, like the agenda is to normalize pedophilia. That is the agenda of proponents of queer theory. There's no doubt about it. It's no longer a matter of that's Mike's opinion. This is like, you'll just hear right straight from the mouth and quotes of these guys that's just the facts.
And as a disclaimer too, we're going to play this for you. And what I do like is that there are several students who are on the side of the teacher.
Yeah.
But with that, I'm going to do a disclaimer here. We are not saying that all gay people prescribe to queer theory. We are talking about a movement, and I would say a political, cultural movement of a subsect of people who are advocates of the gay community, not a representation of the whole or even a majority or probably even a minority. However, their voice is very loud, very fucking loud. And with that, whoever screams the loudest gets their way. And this is the agenda that's being pushed. So despite most gay people, I'm sure, do not prescribe to this at all, in the least bit, there's a representation that's being pushed here as a normality between a relationship between gays and pedophilia. And we're not talking about the majority of gay people who are just like, yeah, man, I'm gay. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, that's not what we're saying. But this is a very, very important subsect that needs discussion because that voice is so loud and could someday become a majority of the voice.
This is
not the population, but the voice.
This is 100% in line with modern critical theory and the Marxist agenda that is a political battle. And this is a growing concern. And it's a concern because the media and their reaction is very, very telling. And this is why people don't trust the media anymore. And rightfully so. The mainstream media is dead. It doesn't exist in any form of integrity anymore. But thank goodness for the internet in that respect, like where we can find things going on that we can dissect and discern. So, boy, we're already 40 minutes in and we haven't even.
I told you this is a 5-part fucking series, man. This is like one of those old documents or docu-series from like the 90s or the 80s. Like
well, we'll have to have a
like
little bit of
blue
a
and the
longer
gray
episode because
and
we have to
Roots.
get to this Sound of Freedom article. There's no doubt about it.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right, here we go. This is 6 minutes long. What do you think, Dave? Should we just kind of let it run, or do we want to interrupt it, or do we want to just kind of interact in the chat with it? I don't know.
I might have you pause, or you might pause every once in a while. That's fine. But I mean, it's 6 minutes long, but I think it's well worth the listen. So let's do that.
Is that coming through?
No, it's very, very low.
How about now?
Oh, wait. That's a beautiful line. Thank you so much for asking. How about something relevant?
It just disappeared. What are you doing?
Culture? Actually, it seems you're acting like this is a spurious connection. So we're going to play Jeopardy. We're going to play queer theory. We're going to play queer theory pedophilia Jeopardy. Okay, answer. Commonly called the godfather of queer theory. Who is Foucault? Okay, 100 points. Foucault. Another way to ask this is who argued? No, I guess the answer would be argued for the eradication of age of consent laws, as in down to infants.
Who is Foucault?
Thank you. Okay, next one. The author of the founding document of queer theory. Who is Gail Rubin? What percentage? Don't know. The answer is 50%. Question is
the amount in that article that was a defense of pedophilia, specifically quote boy lovers, so men with tough boys.
Oh. And since you're not believing me, quote, this is in the founding document of queer theory. Like communists and homosexuals in the 1950s, boy lovers are so stigmatized that it is difficult to find defenders of their civil liberties, let alone for their erotic orientation. That's in the founding document of queer theory. I'm sorry, I'm using facts.
What you might not be hearing is that the students, you can clearly hear, they're very, very much like, this is bullshit, or things like that. It's very hard to hear that part of it, but obviously the people who are clapping are more in favor of what he's saying. But there are definitely people, young kids in that audience that are very vocal. You can't really hear them very well, even when it's a good audio, but they are there. Sorry. Go ahead.
Apologies. One must never let facts in the way. Oh, she also compared, by the way, she compared pedophilia to a preference for spicy food. The thing is, I have never heard of anyone who has to have years of therapy because they ate hot and sour soup. Okay, so up to 200. Now it is pedophilia and queer theory for 300. That would be author of Macho Sluts. Author of Macho Sluts and Public Sex. Pat Califia. Wait. What was it somebody said? Stay relevant.
Yeah, they keep calling them fascist and transphobic and things like that.
Okay, let's talk about Pat Califia. Okay, here's something from one of Pat Califia's books. It's really interesting.
Just note that that's the common response when you simply state facts. So this is the insanity of this. Here you have a student who supports queer theory, but who would also say, leave kids alone, when confronted with the fact that their queer theory hero thinks overcoming a young boy sexually, right, is being attracted to that is no different than just liking spicy food, like, then you're a transphobe. Like
Right.
what these two do not, like, that is a logical fallacy. It's a non sequitur. It doesn't because you expose someone's actual statement, it does not follow that now you have a fear of someone that thinks different than you or has a different lifestyle than you. These are illogical things, and this is par for the course in public education right now, even at a higher level. Is
Clearly,
we're not teaching logical argumentation, right? And it's we're paying the price for that. Here we go.
That when I actually start talking about the relationship between queer theory and anarchism and pedophilia, that it becomes, they really want to shut me up now. Okay, so here's Pat Califia. Pat Califia. Oh, wait, just a second. I was accused of homophobia because I'm against pedophilia. Who is it who actually makes the connections between that? Okay, here's something by Pat Califia. Pat Califia has written, any child old enough to decide whether or not she or he wants to eat spinach, play with trucks, or wear shoes is old enough to decide whether or not she wants to run around naked in the sun, masturbate, sit in someone's lap, or engage in sexual activity, by which she does not mean play doctor, she means with adults. She's very clear about that because she also says that pedophiles should be more and not less invested in children's lives. Okay, so we're at 300.
That makes the hair on the
400
back of my neck
is
stand.
the most famous queer theorist of today. Answer. No, it is not Judith Butler. Who is Judith Butler? Okay, Judith Butler is the most famous queer theorist of the day.
We see you, all of you supporters here, who do not care about trans people's lives. Every person here supported their
That's the argument.
Okay. Here's a great quote from Judith Butler. Okay, so Judith Butler wrote, so I keep adding this qualification. When incest is a violation, suggesting I think there may be occasions in which it's not. Why would I talk that way? Well, I do think that there are probably forms of incest that are not necessarily traumatic, and which gain their traumatic character by virtue of the consciousness of social stain that they produce. Yeah, that's Judith Butler. That's one of the queer heroes. Okay, now we have for 500 we have the last one in the queer theory and pedophilia. The answer is queer theorist who has spoken out strongly against pedophilia.
Zero.
Who is no one? Not a single one. Because the entire thing is based on transgressing. Yeah, I know. Dear fucking God.
And there it is. Right?
Yeah, and there it is. Yeah, I know. Dear God. So, yeah. I guess I moved my microphone over here, so I couldn't quite see what was going on in the chat. So I don't know if I missed any particular questions or input on that. But I mean, all he did was quote the founding mothers and fathers of queer theory. Like he doesn't even have to disparage them. He didn't even offer opinion on it. All he was doing was basically making an assertion that there is an undeniable correlation between queer theory proponents and pedophilia. He's just saying, like, there's an undeniable correlation between these two things. People lost their mind. And keep in mind that he, off the cuff, he didn't have, this wasn't like necessarily all put together like a presentation. He's simply throwing out these major proponents and developers of queer theory, and he's just showing them for what they are, which are people who have an agenda to normalize minor attraction.
Wow.
That's what it is. And in order to do unspeakable things to people, you have to dehumanize them. And this is the gateway into human trafficking, child sex work, and exploitation of children, sexually or otherwise. Is once you make it okay, then you eliminate the guilt, you eliminate the problems, and you try to justify it that way. And that is exactly, there are people in high levels of influence politically and in a wide variety of industries who would be completely okay with normalizing pedophilia.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about it, right? And it is up to us to be honest about it. I wouldn't say like up to us to expose it or whatever else. It's just, let's just at least be honest about it, right? And the problem is that it used to be that across, like, even like in the prison system, right? Like even cops and robbers, good guys, bad guys, right? Like I could arrest a guy that just knocked off a convenience store or robbed a bank or whatever else, and we would both agree he would be locked up. He'd be in handcuffs in the back of my car. I'd be driving him to jail. And we would both 100% agree that messing with kids is wrong. Right? That dividing line is being erased, right? By many who would say, no, we need to get rid of that line. That line is arbitrary. And that's a social construct. But the problem is that leaves you in a moral abyss if you accept this ideology, because then where does it end? There's what is right and what is wrong outside of any individual deciding for themselves to coalesce around any action.
Well, but my question to you, Mike, is but why? Right? Like why is there a push for a normalization of pedophilia? What is the end result? I mean, like when somebody like Butler goes to sleep at night, what does she think about as far as, and why? What is the mean? Like in 1984, there's a quote. It says, if you want to keep a secret, you must also hide it from yourself. Now, there's different ways to think about that. And the reality is, like,
That's really good.
You in reality, so what is the agenda? Does somebody like Butler think, yeah, no, this is amazing, which is weird because there's never been any accusations that these individuals have committed the crime of pedophilia or anything else like that. But so why is it that they have to hide these secrets even from themselves to make it a normal circumstance? What drives them for it, and why? What is the outcome for it? You can't just say like, it's because they want to do great evil. That I can't prescribe to that. There's an agenda, but what is the agenda? What is the outcome that they are looking for, and why?
Okay, so I think there's two levels to the answer. One is found in, like, we talk about exploitation, right? So I think there is money and power to be gained and expressed through exploitation of people. And if minors can be included in that, then that's a whole new pool of profit. That's a whole new level of power and influence for those who want to gain it, right? But that still doesn't get to the question of, well, why would they want to do that at all costs? Now, this is the faith fork in the road, in my opinion, and this is why when we get to Sound of Freedom, you're going to see like Jim Caviezel is blatantly talking about his faith as it relates to why he wanted to be involved in this project and where the crossroads come from. You look at other big people like Sean Ryan, who's publicly converted to Christianity in recent weeks, months. You look at a lot of people are coming to a crisis of faith. What do I really believe? Because this is a battle of ideologies, but ideologies don't exist in a vacuum. They come from somewhere. And here's the issue: is when we say something is right or wrong, based on what is the next logical question. And I would agree with the Apostle Paul, who said that the wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. For what can be known about God is plain to them, because God has shown it to them, his invisible attributes, namely his power, divine nature. It's been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made. So they are without excuse. For although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal men and birds and animals and creeping things. Therefore, God gave them up in the lust of their hearts to impurity, to the dishonoring of their bodies among themselves, because they exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshiped and served the creature rather than the creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. That is the best summary of what is happening in my estimation. And I think everyone has to come to a crisis of faith where they start to say, what the hell is going on and why?
You bring up a good point, but so basically what you're saying is, but that what you just stated, recited, was a group normalizing because they had something to gain from it. So in reality, what we're saying then is there's something to be gained from this agenda. It's not that they even, well, they might believe it as a normal part of who they are now, but what pushed it is got to be an agenda where they somehow gain from it. And we've had people, so Corn Pop's Wunderwaffe, the agenda is the inversion of the natural order, the inversion of everything good. These things come in, and I can't disagree with you, but the reality is that do these people lay down at night and say, I want to turn the world upside down in a weird, like, is that the reality of it? This, and we have another one. Ultimately, the reason is to remove all freedoms. Now, I'm not sure I prescribe to that. I mean, I think it's an interesting statement and one that could be debated. I can't say I agree with it or disagree with it. I tend more to disagree with it, because removing all freedoms, it doesn't necessarily removing all freedoms. What is, again, you have to, there's a gain from it. So really, you getting to the base of it, it's not to remove freedoms. It's for an individual who's pushing these agendas to elevate in the end, right? I mean, like,
I think to
that's
exalt
what it comes
themselves.
down, the very basic instinct of our humanity is to elevate ourselves to a godlike status.
Yes.
Whether that's with power or money or burritos or a hot dog eating contest, right? Like, but that's what, you know what I mean? So I think that getting to the basics of it, yes, I think that the end result is the removal of freedoms, but it's only because of a humanistic, instinctual need to elevate yourself. And I think that we are no different here.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. I need to get back in focus. Woo.
You look better out of focus, Mike.
Some would say most. In fact, by some I mean most. All right. Yeah. No, I think we're kind of saying the same things, which is like if you're gonna elevate yourself to godlike status with money, power, fame, all those things at all cost, right? You exchange truth for a lie, and you'll do anything. You'll do anything for that. And the behaviors become more and more, I would say, demonic. Some would say, just disgusting. But again, it comes down to if someone was to say, well, it's wrong to do that to a kid, and I said, well, why is that wrong? Well, because you don't hurt kids. Oh, why? Well, because it's against the law. Okay, well, why would we have a law against that?
Yeah, why is that
right?
bad? Why,
you gotta
punish
trace
kids all the time.
Yeah, you gotta trace it back, and this is why I'm saying to you guys, you're gonna have a crisis of faith if you ask these questions, because you're serving an ultimate reality of some kind. You have a working. We talk about queer theory as an underlying ideology. You have an ideology too, right? You have every one of us that listens to this show is watching right now has a way that you're making sense of the world. Like you're answering questions every day, and if you don't know the answers, you're operating on assumptions that you have as like working pieces of things that you're just accepting as assumptions. And you got to ask yourself why, and that will lead you places if you keep asking.
Here's the problem, Mike, is there's simply not enough time to discuss all of this, and I get it. So we had another, I think, excellent comment here, and I actually kind of leads me into this thing with Butler. So it's is on the 6th of May, 1933, Hitler ordered the raid on the Institute of Sexology. They burned over 20,000 books from the Institute, specialized literature about the most degenerate, blah, 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 and then in depraved writings of the world at that time. And what we are looking at, and so Butler wrote an excitable speech, 1997, and I'm going to quote a little bit from this because this actually kind of plays into a lot of this too, as far as a pushing agenda, or I'm sorry, my agenda. In this, her argument that hate speech exists retrospectively only after being declared such by state authority. Let me go back, actually. They argue... She argues that the censorship is difficult to evaluate and that in some cases it may be useful or even necessary, while in others it may be worse than tolerance. Butler argues that hate speech exists retrospectively only after being declared such by state authorities. In this way, the state reserves for itself the power to define hate speech and conversely the limits of acceptable discourse. In this connection, Butler criticizes feminist legal scholar Catherine McKinnon's argument against pornography for its unquestioning acceptance of the state's power to censor. It's interesting to me that there's an argument even among liberals. Well, it's usually more among I maybe I'm wrong, but more among liberals as far as when we should be able to restrict speech. And it's interesting that the stuff that I think is fucking crazy, like queer theory, is the very thing that I would have to fight for the free speech of. And yet this person's like, this queer theory is awesome, but don't say anything against it because that's fucking hate speech, and we gotta put that down. We gotta put that down right now.
It's the forever perennial problem of I say the left. I try to stop using the terms left and right because I think there's Marxist and not. I just call it Marxism. And the perennial problem with Marxism is that it always consumes itself.
But there's a relatability to saying that leftists.
Yeah, I get it, right. But Marxism, where it exists, it consumes itself. It can't be sustained long term because it, it it thrives on claiming tolerance while simultaneously being the most intolerant ideology
Right.
that humanity has ever seen. So it's
Right.
like it doesn't work that way, right? Like, oh, you need to be tolerant. Okay, so I need to tolerate your difference of opinion. Yes, but you don't need to tolerate my difference of opinion.
Yeah, but
So,
because what you say is horrible,
because
and
what you say
I
is
can't
wrong.
listen to it.
So
Yeah,
it's a self-defeating concept,
it's
that's
horrible.
crazy. But you have to try to make it make sense so that you can justify your evil actions of exploitation and growth and power and influence that you try to gain. So um let's
You know
take
our
a
problem, Mike, is we're never going to get into this.
I'm getting into it right now. I'm doing it
Okay,
right
I
now.
just I feel like we have so much to discuss
We
here. We
do.
need
We
to do
do.
a part two,
We have
honestly.
tons to discuss. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Whether there's a part two or whatever. All right. So I stumbled into this history versus Hollywood website. So that's where this comes from, guys. If history versus Hollywood, you want to read it all for yourself in extreme detail, you can go there and just look up Sound of Freedom. And basically, it's kind of a cool site because you always see these like based on a true story type movies. There's tons of them, and you always wonder, okay, what really happened versus what Hollywood showed, because Hollywood's going to have to do something to make it exciting. They're going to have to tell the story out of order, or they're going to have to make it have more explosions or something, like whatever. So I was curious about this movie. And again, I think we said at the beginning, full disclosure, neither one of us have seen this. So spoiler alerts ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
We all know what happens if you don't say spoiler alert with Dave. It gets very
You-
ugly very fast. So
I might not even talk to you for a week or
so
two.
it might, things
Cut
get
you off
very,
from
very
Facebook.
real. when You do that. Yeah. He will
It's
unfriend
true.
you. He will unfriend you on Facebook if you, if you say anything that's a spoiler.
It took 3 years for me to friend you again on Facebook. It's so dumb.
All right.
Oh, God.
So getting past the surface stuff, Jim Caviezel, what a handsome dude. So is Tim Ballard,
Very
the
much
real
so.
the real
Yes.
agent. Mira Sorvino, who I don't know what she's been in. I mean, I know the name. I couldn't tell you a movie that she's been in other than the fact that I kind of have a vague knowledge that she's there.
Dude,
Catherine,
she was in that movie with Phoebe from Friends, where they played like ditzy chicks, like
I haven't-
like in the like late night, like
really?
like ridiculously ditzy. Like
Can't say that I've seen it.
no, I remember seeing it, but I don't remember anything about it. But yeah, so
Right on.
yeah.
And this is Tim Ballard's wife, Catherine. So just a little bit of Q&A accuracy between what you'll see on the screen and the real life. And I think that the real life shows some interesting differences. And sometimes I look at this and I'm like, why did they make this change in Hollywood? Because the real story is actually really good. Like why change it? Like
Yeah, I agree.
it seems weird, right? So Tim Ballard. So the question is, did the real Tim Ballard grow frustrated after spending years stopping the end users of child pornography, but never rescuing the kids? Yes, the Sound of Freedom true story reveals that Tim Ballard, who had initially worked for the CIA a year prior to then joining the newly formed Department of Homeland Security, spent several years busting the consumers of child exploitive material without ever being able to rescue the kids being exploited. So 12 years he was a special agent, an undercover operator, working child crimes, child trafficking. Man, that's got to mess with your head. So yes, the laws changed, he said, in 2006. For the first time, U.S. agents could actually go overseas and prosecute Americans for engaging in sex with children overseas and prosecute them as if they'd committed the crime on U.S. soil. So, I mean, that is a good law change. So the answer is yes, that is true. He really got sick of never being able to actually help kids. And so that was a huge source of frustration for him in his career.
Are we are we going back into the spectrum of trafficking then? Because they talk about pornography and everything else. we're led to typically believe that trafficking is kind of like the abduction of a child for purposes of sexual gratification through money or something else. But there really is a spectrum, and we've even talked or touched upon that on prior shows, and actually got a lot of hate from it, from the idea that actual abduction type sexual trafficking is actually quite low, at least in the United States. We got a lot of hate from that. However, children exploited with pornography and other sex acts from family members, family friends of things is a little bit, seems more prolific. Definitely have experienced that more in like sex crimes, things of that nature, at least on the job. As far as I've seen throughout my career, it's been, I'll say 99.9% has been those kind of issues. Is this more of the spectrum that we're talking about before we even go overseas to see that children are being sexually exploited over there? Is this the spectrum that we're talking about?
I think there's probably like maybe some individuals who only engage, I guess, in one piece of this, right? Like this spectrum, this arc of involvement. But I think like they're all connected, so they're interwoven. So sometimes kids are abducted, moved, sold, then exploited in pornography, and then you have an end user who consumes that, right? Like,
right.
So they're in many ways, connected. And we should mention, I think it's fair to mention, that this isn't just about kids, and this is one thing that will, toward the end of this, they actually bring up. Well, why wait? I'll go down here and just boop, 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 boop. Get to one of the questions.
While you're doing that, let me just kind of like expand. So I have a good friend who works the child crimes, and there's been, I mean, some of the stuff that she's talked about, some of the investigations that we were part of, in DB, are something that nightmares are truly made of, and like, but it's crazy how far technology has come, but yet still is limited, because even though the enormous advance in technology to find these criminals, these people, these devils, they are still able to outsmart technology and the police. And I don't mean that in a bad way, like we're just not doing anything, but it is incredible because you can timestamps, you can find actual GPS locations of video and pictures taken on a cell phone. They can actually tear those pictures apart and find out where
data
the fuck
data embedded in them. Yeah.
Yep. And it's just incredible. And even some of the ones where these children are forced to have sex and all that, which does happen. We've seen, it actually happens quite a bit. It's still very difficult, which is, again, the example of 12 years to find these devils. It's crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, what I was gonna say is that when we think about the world of human trafficking and sexual exploitation, yeah, I mean, the minor aspect of that is horrific, but it's more than that. There are adult victims as well, right? There are people who are lured in under false premises. They're abducted. A lot of times it's not just like a straight kidnapping to where it's like, oh, hood over the head, pulled into a van, and you're gone, and all of a sudden you're being exploited. It's not quite like that. A lot of times
it's grooming.
A lot of times it is grooming at a young age. It is luring them through false premises. Like in this case, there was a woman in Colombia, maybe it was Honduras or Colombia. I'll have to go back because I haven't seen the movie, but who approaches a dad and lures the dad to give access to the kid for modeling, like or
Yeah.
talent tryouts, and he drops the kids off at this house, this apartment, and then comes back to pick them up, and they're gone, right? Like literally taken that way, right? So, or if you're an adult or a teenager that is of age of consent or shortly over 18, maybe they'll lure you in for that, like, modeling or other types of jobs, and then they get you addicted, literally get you addicted to heroin or other narcotics. And a lot of what people see in the pornographic world are not willing participants. They're people who are drugged out of their minds. And so there's a lot going on. And what happens is the real Tim Ballard says his team rescued 123 victims. Only 55 were minors. Most of them were adults. The film depicts 54 rescued on this island operation and depicted all of them as minors. So it only focused on the kids, when in reality, what Tim uncovered and got accomplished in what they called Operation Triple Take rescued 55 minors, and the remaining out of the 123 were adults.
Man, if you think about it too, how interesting, and I don't mean this to be creepy, but how interesting is the mind of these people who are meant to groom and to create a element of trust. These people are brilliant. They have brilliant minds. They can spot family weaknesses, personal insecurities like no one else can. We have a lot to learn about the mind, about these brilliant minds that have these abilities to pick up on the things that will make their job easier, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. They can sniff out a dad who wants his kid to be freaking famous by modeling, by leaving his child at somebody's house. They can smell it. They can look over and smell that person from a mile and a half away. It's incredible.
So, Tim, it says, after being ordered to abort his mission in Colombia, did Tim Ballard quit his job so he could stay and rescue the children? While conducting our Sound of Freedom fact check, we discovered the movie's depiction of Tim Ballard's quitting his job is largely accurate. Ballard said that everything came to a head for him in 2012 when he was working on 2 different cases, one in Haiti and one in Colombia. And if you want to go down a rabbit hole, look up the Clintons in Haiti, with involving children, by the way. It's scary. Okay. Due to it being a 2-hour movie, the case in Colombia is the only one focused on the film. I was told come home on both of them, says Ballard. They were both major cases. A significant hit against human traffickers would have taken place. There I am thinking they're asking me to come home once again, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay. That means I'm going to have to quit my job. And yes, he talked to his wife. He actually said the movie makes him look like he's brave. It was his wife, Tim Ballard's wife, that said he needed to stay. He was going to come home. He was like, man, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to quit my job. He's talking to his wife. He says, I called my wife hoping she'll say, get your butt home. Are you kidding me? We've got 6 kids to feed. I wanted her to say that because I was being a coward, but I knew it was the right thing. And she didn't. She didn't read my script. And she said, of course, you're going to stay. And I said, are you kidding me? She said, I will not let you jeopardize my salvation by not doing this. And it breaks my heart because not only is she losing our income, but she is possibly a very good chance, like 50-50, she's going to lose me because he's going off the grid here. Like he's going off the reservation. No more protection from Homeland Security. He's quitting his job. He's literally taking this operation, working with Colombian special intel on his own. And good on the Colombians for allowing him to continue to work with them.
Right.
To complete this operation, apparently, so it's crazy. So at the time that he quit his job, he had 6 kids. And now they have 9, including 2 that they adopted that Tim helped rescue from traffickers. So that is very true. Tim and Catherine met. Now, here's an interesting thing. While attending Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, that indicates to me that they are likely a Mormon couple. That would
Right.
And Glenn Beck,
And the amount of kids tells me the same.
yeah, and yeah, you're either the Duggars or you're Mormon. So and Glenn Beck is a well-known Mormon individual as well, and he funded Tim Ballard in his effort after he heard about the whole situation to continue that. This is interesting. Are the villains in The Sound of Freedom based on real people? Tim Ballard said every bad guy is real. In fact, the movie was cut because it got too long. They had cards at the end telling you every bad guy is real, every kid is real, and it told you where they are today. They had to cut it. It hurt. So, like, yes, they were real, and yes, for the most part, it says, is this movie's story of a woman posing as a talent recruiter and convincing a Honduran father to drop his daughter and son off at talent tryouts based in reality. For the most part, yes. In the movie, a lower middle class Honduran father is approached by a well-dressed woman posing as a talent recruiter who overhears his daughter singing at the market. The woman, who is named Giselle, should be named Ghislaine, convinces the father to drop his daughter and son off at singing tryouts. The father arrives with his 2 children at what appears to be an apartment filled with other children, tells the father to come back at 7. However, when he returns, he discovers a dark, empty room with no signs of his kids. The real story, there was a former beauty queen who helped lure in the children. Her name was Kelly Joanna Suarez, and she had been known as Miss Cartagena. She was one of 5 traffickers arrested on the island in that operation. Tim Ballard said that similar to the film, they would lure in the children by pretending to have a modeling agency. So, yeah, he said that they play with sometimes. They bring a couple of things together that didn't happen that fast, of course. Some things are definitely overreported. Jim Caviezel makes me look way cooler than I am, I promise. But some things are underreported. Like you said, we didn't rescue 54 kids. We rescued over 120. And there's a documentary coming out called Triple Take, which tells everything that happened on that island. So that's cool, too. There's more follow-up coming on.
Yeah, I'm more of a documentary guy. I want to see like video footage. I want to hear the real person, so
yeah,
it'll be a good one.
Tim Ballard has never killed anybody, but in the movie, Jim Caviezel kills somebody during the operation to save a kid. He said that did not happen. He did not kill anybody.
I'm surprised he was like okay with that, for Hollywood purposes. I wonder, like, didn't seem like he's too vocal about it. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. How many children are trafficked each year? It says, while researching the Sound of Freedom true story,
here's the spectrum.
We learned that according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, approximately 350,000 children are reported missing every year. Of that total, an estimated 100,000 are being trafficked. So it says the 2021 Federal Human Trafficking Report stated that 57% of those people were minors. So the problem exists, right? But when you hear 350,000, you think, well, where are all these kids going? Well, some of them some of these people are running away.
Yes.
It's parental kidnapping, and there's child custody disputes happening.
Broken homes.
Yeah. I mean, so there's those numbers are big, but like they said, an estimated 100,000 are trafficked, and only 57% of those are minors. Now that's still 57,000 minors that are somehow being trafficked in and through our country for exploitive purposes.
Does it say it says it's United States then?
It just says according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So I'm assuming national.
Yeah. So an estimated 57. So an estimated 57,000 are minors. And I wish they would break that down more into like socioeconomic class, broken homes.
Well, here's those stats especially. There. The 27.6 million people trafficked globally, 20% of them being kids, and it's the U.S. that has that number compared to it. That's $150 billion a year business, more than the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL combined. It has eclipsed the illegal arms trade.
And again, I I hate doing this, but I really want to know the actual statistics and what is meant by trafficking. If we have to spectrumize it, if we have to categorize what it means to be trafficked, I'm okay with that. But see, this is the problem that we were having before. This is what we got hate for, is that they refuse to do that because, again, this is a money maker.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's really so. I want better statistics. I want to know where the real fucking problem is. I want to know where money should be spent to protect these children.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that you just say trafficking or traffic. I'm already supposed to have an idea of what that means, but that's honestly not exactly what it always means. Matter of fact, very little of that is actually what it means. So
Yeah.
I want better statistics. And the reason I want better statistics isn't because I want to disprove anything. It's because it's disingenuous to make a spectrum of a problem just so that you can throw money at it and say that, oh, here's the all-encompassing problem. Yes, it is a problem, but it's not fair to the American people, to the people globally, for you to just say trafficked.
Well, you can't accurately fight a problem unless you accurately define the problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. So kind of wrap this little section up. Again, read the whole article yourselves, guys. Like it explains all these differences, because I think a lot of people think this whole movie is like, well, of course it's Hollywood. It's all embellished. It's not real. Most of it is, though, in this case. Like a lot of it is. But Ballard, in an interview with the Daily Signal, explained how the current lack of security at the border, which I find is interesting, is exacerbating the problem of child trafficking. So he says, this is a quote from Agent Ballard: "The economy of pedophilia. The United States is the #1 consumer of child exploitation material. We are the demand." So that means,
again, I don't mean to be a dick, but is that because the sheer population? It's like saying, well, police pull over red cars more than any other. Well, yeah, that's because there's 5 times more red cars produced than, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm sorry. I just want those answers.
Right. We have greater access to internet and materials and dark web or whatever else, so we can get more of it. So we are the ones that are consuming more of it. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, right? Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made here, he says. The United States also, according to the State Department, is in the top 3 countries for destination countries for human trafficking. So that there's every incentive to get children into America, into the black markets here of pedophilia. And so when I found out the last couple of years that at least 85,000, I think it's much higher than that at least 85,000 unaccompanied minors have shown up at the border, thousands of them, I've seen the CBP reports, are under 5 years old. Why is a 3-year-old showing up at the border? Well, I can tell you why. Because they show up with a name, the name of a sponsor that they're given by the trafficker. HHS gets the kids, and they, by law, have to call the number. Hi, we have Jose Gonzalez, Mr. George Smith. Yeah, that's my kid. Whatever. They used to actually fly down and have to pick the kid up. Not anymore. Our taxpayer dollars will now send the kid by plane or bus to this, quote, sponsor. No background check, no DNA, nothing. And they deliver the kids. Our taxpayer dollars are literally, for the first time in American history, our taxpayer dollars are going to facilitate the last leg of a child trafficking event. So that's according to
good for something.
Ballard himself. So you can say he's the liar or not. You can verify that information for yourself, whether or not you think that's really happening. We did interview a whistleblower before on when I was on Failure to Stop. We interviewed a whistleblower about this, and this is like, this is happening, right? This is what is happening. We are not tracking these children well, and so we have become, in the name of tolerance and inclusion and the American way, we are paving the way for kids to be harmed.
Well,
and we're paying.
We have a really good vetting program.
Whew. All right, man. I haven't been
Big
paying
one,
attention
man.
to guys. I'm sorry if you
Yeah,
were saying good stuff in the chat. I normally try to kind of like pick them up. I just haven't been able to pay much attention to the chat. It's been just kind of combing the article and keeping that moving. But yeah. So I would call this a feel good episode, really.
Yeah, technically. Yeah. More of a rom-com.
Whew. Anyway,
I know it's a heavy one. Again, I wish we could do more. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Do
It's a
whatever we want.
podcast. But
this
man,
is the
I
middle-aged
seriously
rage
would
show.
I'd like to continue looking into this, man. This is a big deal for me. So, man, but I want more answers. I want good fucking answers, but there just don't seem to be out there. So that's frustrating for me.
Yeah.
Question everything, bitches. That's our motto.
Everything,
bitches.
We've always said that. It's
always. Even when I wasn't questioning anything, as a bitch.
All right. Well, this has been our return episode of Off the Cuff since our vacation last week. And here we are. So thank you, Sarah Kelch, Ryan Abernathy, and Bosco for the quick little super chats. We appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who goes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, does the ratings, the reviews, follows, subscribes. We put the audio out on Thursdays. We do the live show here on YouTube on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern. So yeah. And we could change the name of the show anytime. We could change the format. We can do whatever we want because it's our show. We're not beholden to anybody. No one's in our pockets.
Yeah. We could even, if we wanted to name it like...
Our hands are just in each other's pockets. That's it.
Yeah, right? Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah. We could even name our podcast like The Pedos. Like, you know what I mean? Like the pedophiles or something like that because we're so against it. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like I'm spitballing, but it sounds good. You know,
I'm gonna have to let me sleep on that one.
Okay, yeah, no,
see. Let me chew on that. See what comes out of the.
Well, it just shows where our focus is. So I just just something I just thought of
for the kids
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we're all headed to hell in a handbasket. All right, cool. Thanks for hanging in there with us, guys. We appreciate it, and we'll see you later.
See you on top of the hill.
Wait, what?